sorry about this, my first panel, but let's hope I can get things done and be entertaining. I don't want to be boring and have a social wreck, so yeah. Just I got water for this, because I'm going to talk a lot, and I rehearsed this with my grandma last night. She's the only one. Today is the, oh god, this is my first panel, and I'm gonna mess up. Feeling, because my first panel, but it's not the first time I spoke with a microphone. I use it for my stuff all the time. So, yeah. This, okay, it locked up a bit. This is a panel called A Reviewer's Journey. Basically explains how I became a writer when I was young, and how I ended up using my writing skills to just nail what I want to do in life as a hobby, because trust me, there was a period where I just didn't stick. But we're going to get into that, and all the stuff I did, missteps and all along the way. So section 1, about me and how I became a writer. I'm going to make this brief. Basically, I started a bit rough. As a kid, I was basically kept myself for Game Boy Advance, a lot of patience, not much else until I was like 8, because I was in a not so nice situation to live in. And I was like pretty upset about that, because I didn't really have much to do. I could play games. I didn't get to go to school most of the time, which some young kids or even anyone would say, sweet, I can take the day off and play video games. As an adult, don't do that, because it's not good for the health, because I'll sleep deprived by staying up for 26 hours in a row. That's not good. So, it got really bad in 2006 for reasons I can't mention, but I basically got saved from all that thanks to some grandparents who relocated me away. But because of that, I had learned a lot of stuff people learn when they're like 3 or 4. So that included the ability to write. And I had to escape through writing. So when I got to writing in 3rd grade, school taught me to be a writer with both pen and paper and also the computer room. And I was a huge fan of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon because that came out that same year, 2006. So I was burning with ideas or stories or sticky ideas and did anything that would stick. Anything. As an 8th grader with lots of imagination, you can get great ideas or dumb ideas. One of my dumb ideas from 2006 was, I watched Nickelodeon, Shark Zone was on, and I was like, oh cool, I love that show. And I was in the Mystery Dungeon. And then I tried making a Mystery Dungeon comic, but then I was like, crud, I can't draw a Pokemon, I'm bad. I can't draw myself, what do I do? So I basically drew a Mystery Dungeon comic, the age of 8, where I injected Snap, a blue chalk boy from Shark Zone that was literally just a smiley face, and I put him in a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon comic. It was weird, I did not like it. Well, I liked it at the time because I was creative, but in general, not good ideas. Probably one of the weirdest ideas you could ever mix. Shark Zone Mystery Dungeon, that's weird. So yeah, that's one example. But then, over time, I did more reporting, I wrote for essays in elementary school, middle school. I got to hang with things, and it was pretty nice and entertaining most of the time. I remember just enjoying myself, sometimes they give me cool assignments and stuff. And in the teen years, I ended up becoming more of a writer that didn't do as much crazy ideas. So being a big fan of writing, doing a writing task in school, I got some advice from teachers who said, hey Connor, you should be an author. And I was like, oh hey, that's a really good idea. I like to be an author. There was a book I was reading in school. I don't remember the full name of it, but it was Swordbird and Sword Quest. I don't know if anyone's heard of those books. They're basically really cute books about a bird in the world of animals that go on a quest to save a sword in a kingdom of birds. It was cute, but it was a cool a cool fiction novel for young readers. So I thought I could make a story like that. I could be a great author. I can make action stories, really good and epic. I have lots of ideas, but no publisher. I was 13. What do teenagers do when they need to make their own stories? They go to the Shadow Realm, fanfiction.net. Oh god, I was a fanfic writer. Being the clever teenager I was at the time, with a new interest in games such as Neon Falcon's E-Series and other RPG hits like Final Fantasy and whatnot, alongside Pokemon, I went nuts with ideas and made them stories and was like, copyright can't stop me. This site lets me do whatever I want. I don't have to tell a publisher, hey, I can make a Pokemon story and be stopped by the Pokemon company because you're crazy, Connor. So I became a fanfiction writer shortly after my 13th birthday when I was legally allowed to go on the website. I regret every second of this, but it helped me in the end. But the oh no zone. My first idea that ended up going anywhere was an in-depth story about Looney Tunes characters. And I mean in-depth. It was a story filled with action, romance, action, lots of action. And I was like, wow, I'm going to be the coolest guy around. Surely people will like my writing and I can get feedback. And people did give me feedback about how to improve my sentence structure and all that, which was a good experience. But then people poked fun at me because of the character I picked, and this is 2011 and it was not as bad then. Nowadays, I get burned at the stake, and I rightfully agree. A character I picked for these stories is one, Pepe Le Pew. I made Pepe Le Pew romance stories, but ones that my grandma could read, because for one, I was 13, didn't want to get in trouble with myself, and second, I was like, how can I make this action-y? And I was like, no one makes Pepe Le Pew stories or movies. Why is that? I gotta fix this. And fun fact, there was a movie based on this guy with Michael Myers from Shrek in development at the time I made these stories. To this day, it's never gone past the planning phase. I wonder why. Come on. So wasted effort. A quite little tidbit from my story, but basically, yeah, I wrote a story about Pepe Le Pew, and I wrote 30,000 words worth of story about Pepe Le Pew and the cat and all that stuff because I was like, I gotta get good at writing. And 21 chapters, 30 reviews, 24 favorites, I don't know how that happened. 5 people follow the story, get updates, I don't even know how that happened. And I updated on March 18, 2012. I started in January of 2011, took me a year to finish it. But I did write with what I thought was my heart back then. But at what cost did all this writing for weird ideas get me? This is when I began to get desperate as a writer. So my big break failed. My hope to become a famous author on the internet failed because barely anyone wanted to read a cringy romance fanfiction starring a skunk that no one talks about anymore because stranger danger. So I went to another place to try and get big, one I regret way more, to the point I actually nuked the whole profile because I'm so ashamed of it. DeviantArt. I did this by first taking requests, because people like free stuff. I was like, oh cool, free stuff. So I was like, hey guys, tell me what ideas you have, I'll write them. I got ideas that I'd rather not talk about, and I wrote them. So, yeah, I don't like that now, but my passion project, the one I came up with myself, was a major crossover between Ease and Looney Tunes, because I can't show the picture. I'm absolutely serious, I made a crossover between Looney Tunes and Ease. And whenever I tell people this, they're like, oh, like Kingdom Hearts, Disney and Square Enix? I was like, no, I don't even know what Kingdom Hearts was back then. I made my own convoluted 52-chapter adventure where people from Looney Tunes would meet up with people like, not the Ease characters themselves, but parodies of them. I guess it's like Tokyo Mirage Sessions, but before that came out, you meet. It's a convoluted mess. We'll have not talk about it. I spent a year, oh, there he is. I spent a year of my work, non-stop, making new chapters for it, hoping to get recognized because a lot of people were liking my free stories I make because free stuff, and anything can happen in those. But my passion, no one really cared, and I can see why. But there was one guy the whole time who stuck with me and was like, oh, Connor, this is really good. You should keep doing it. So I kept doing it for a year. I finished the story. I gave it an ending, probably not a good one, but I gave it an ending. And then my friend who was encouraging me the whole time vanished off the face of the site and the internet as I finished it, which makes me think I wrote it so bad he just stuck around as a troll of sorts. But then, despite all this, despite me leaving DeviantArt later that year because I got sick of people asking me to do stupid stories, I had a spark of inspiration. As I just wrapped up the crossover fanfic before I burned it in time, to the point where the only copy I have of it is on a hard drive that's locked in a drawer because I really, really can't stand it. I was on a writing kick because I was good at writing. I was on internet forums, Go Nintendo, Nintendo Life, YouTube, all that stuff. I talked to people about new games coming out and how excited I was for them. So, as uncomfortable as I was with some ideas people gave me, I wanted to write more, but I didn't want to use demidots. So in May of 2014, I was on vacation in Minnesota. I saw the Wii U's eShop, and there was some games that seemed cool. Anyone here know some Wii U eShop games? Like Mean One, or popular games like, well yeah, Mean One and other weird games. Because literally anyone put any game on the Wii U back then because Nintendo was desperate. But because of that, there were some games that no one wanted to review, but I was interested in. And so, an excerpt from my first email, I approached a developer named Daku, who made a game called Shove It. It's a game about a fat rabbit that bounces on conveyor belts. It's a kind of bad game because it wasn't made well, but it was cute, and I thought, hey, I'll give this a shot. So I asked him, hey, I write on Go Nintendo because I comment in forums about reviews for games. But I decided to make my own website I made as a teenager because I made a Pokemon fan forum, and no one went to it. So I was like, I have a website, might as well make reviews here. So I asked for a review code, they gave me it, I got the game, and then it begins. The first review on C4 Gaming. So on my ancient web forum for Pokemon stuff I made when I was 12, I ended up reviving it when I was 14. Let's see, no, 15. I revived it when I was 15, so I could review games. And as much as no one really joined it or viewed it back then, my views skyrocketed because of the reviews. And no members joined the forum, it made me think, hey, I can make this a hobby. I like writing, I like games, let's contact some developers and give them feedback. So over the years, I got new clients. I started in the summer with indie devs no one heard about to gain people like Way Forward. By the end of the year, I got a review copy of the new Shantae. I got a review copy of NIS America games. Like, I think there was one called Operation Tokyo. It was this dungeon parlor. That was my first game from them. And then I got stuff from Atlas, like, I believe there was an Atlas game on Citizens of Earth. I got that one. And so I got some contacts, which helped me. But, of course, I eventually upgraded to a WordPress site because you can't use an old forum forever. And overall, it was pretty neat. But now on to reviewers do and don'ts, because as much as I got with clients and upgrade to WordPress site, there were some problems with the WordPress site and my clients in general because I did some things that were stupid. I was a teenager after all, and nowadays I know how to handle that. But I will say I didn't necessarily burn any bridges, but I almost did. So first, water break. My throat is sore. Common mistakes new reviewers make. So I built a website off a free website maker, both my original forum and my WordPress redesign. I paid for the domain and everything, but it's technically still a website maker at the most. And in 2014, 2015, indie games were getting more popular. You saw stuff like Axiom Verge come out. You saw stuff like Guacamelee, the aforementioned Shantae series. Lots of good games came out from indies. And of course, everyone wanted to review them. Even people who made WordPress sites in the last month. So here were common mistakes I saw from other people in my boat who did this for some not so good reasons. Huge don'ts. Do not pester company PR reps over getting a game. Review copies are limited, especially pre-release ones, and the amount of times PR reps I know have been pestered by random people for free sites is half the snitch because of my timer, but he's monitoring. But yeah, a lot of people bug PR reps and like, hey, I hear you have Persona 5 coming out. Can I get a free copy of that on month early? And they're like, no, of course not. I've never heard of you before. So of course, a lot of people try to do that. One of the Atlas reps I talked to about back in the day said one of his favorite funny stories was that someone emailed him asking for a Persona 5 review copy to make a game guide off it for PSN profiles. For starters, he didn't even look there. And the second part, the game didn't even get a release date by the time he sent that email. It was like when it was winter 2014. That's the Persona 5 range this guy asked for a review copy in. From experience, review copies don't really go out until at the most a month or two before launch. So yeah, don't bug companies over certain games because you won't get them that way. And second, don't expect to get free game systems or early copies at all. And don't even review with review copies in mind. Review for giving feedback to developers and saying, hey, I like the games. Can I give you feedback? Like a beta test of sorts. So that's kind of why I got into it, so I could help reviewers and because I didn't see anyone else reviewing games. Also, a big don't review because you want the new Nintendo games. You wouldn't believe how many times I've seen people ask, oh hey, Nintendo makes good games, I could get the new Pokemon early. I should probably review for them, even if they're well-meaning, like I was. Because believe me, I made a review contact with Nintendo and asked for games early, because I thought indies were standing me stuff. Why not Nintendo? They're one of the strictest companies for a reason. For starters, even last year, they get people who will get review copies, like small websites in Europe got review copies for Pokemon Sword and Shield. The Pokédex leaked a few weeks before the game came out because people wouldn't shut up about the new games. To the point Nintendo outright publicly blacklisted a Norwegian site, I believe, named F Nintendo. I'm not kidding, that was their website name. And thus Nintendo won't send any more review copies. They have legal troubles because they leaked stuff early and broke NDAs, more on that later, and in general, it was a big mess. But yeah, even I, someone who's now done this for 6 years and can give lots of reviews and reviewed some bigger games, like in the past few years I reviewed games like Danganronpa 1-2 Reload, Trails of Cold Steel 2, Trails in the Sky 2, trying to think of some other big ones. East 8, I reviewed that. I reviewed quite a few games before they came out. But because of that, I had to follow guidelines and such. And my website gets a comfortable 1,000 views a month. It's not really that big in the end. So most people chase Nintendo and big companies, and you shouldn't. Just go with whoever's open. So some big do's if you want to get into reviewing or just reaching out to companies to ask them questions. Be nice to PR reps. They are people. Reach out on Twitter, because it helps a bit more than an email, because the people behind the PR companies, they have Twitters, especially if they're indie. They usually have they can be open for DMs. You can DM and say, hey, I want to cover so-and-so. Can I email you? And they'll give you your email. And plus you can tell them about, hey, this is me. Don't send it to a person who's not me. Because that happens. Because yes, you should get a domain email. Because it helps prevent PR people from worrying about scammers. Because unfortunately, those free website makers had a bit of a problem because a lot of people stole review codes. Axiom Verge's developer, they were excited to get the game out and let people talk about the new Metroidvania. So they literally asked anyone who was in the games writing to get a review code. They didn't really vet properly because they had trust, and they gave it to some guy who ended up selling it on Kingpin for $15 a week before the game came out. Luckily, the developer bought back his own code and found out the guy scammed him, and then the reviewer was blacklisted. But because of that, some companies outright ask you, hey, send this from a business email so we know you're a legit person, and you've had this done before. So, yeah, that's another big issue. People being rude and ruining it for others. And even if you don't want me to review, but you like hearing about new games from companies, sign up for press releases. They pretty much let anyone on these lists, even Nintendo. Basically, if you get an announcement, you'll get straight to the email, and it'll be neat. We can hear about games as soon as they're announced. It's also cool getting announcements over email because you can immediately reach out to the PR rep to ask for a review code. Or even ask if you can get some images or share with your friends or site, because they usually do have a PR kit. And the biggest rule of all, if you're in the anime voice acting panel, Sean said this a million times, it applies to reviewers too. Never, ever, 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 ever break NDAs or review embargoes. Like voice actors, you will get blacklisted. You will get big time cut off from pretty much any reviewer, because most companies, they talk to each other. They even share the same reps sometimes. Like those networks like 41 and stuff that do their own contacts. Like I know XC Games and Koei Tecmo Games share the same PR studio. Akis Games and Tozai Games share the same studio. So basically, what spreads, you don't get anyone to like you if you break a review embargo. Even on accident, because I've had friends who accidentally broken a review embargo. How does this happen? If it's like an NDA, you can't say stuff early. Sometimes there's a thing called scheduling. You schedule a review to go live at 10 a.m., but oops, you accidentally put 10 p.m. the night before, and it goes up live. Usually you should delete it ASAP before anyone sees it, but if you're a big website, yeah, you can be in trouble. I've seen people like IGN and GameSpot accidentally upload a press release the day before because they didn't time it properly, or, especially since it's recent, daylight savings time. It's bad, man. You're better off not scheduling until literally hours before it goes live, and you have to be absolutely sure it'll go live properly. Especially if it's like a big game, because like if my review for East 8 went up a day before, I'd be blacklisted from NIS America in a heartbeat. Oh, heck, Damien Wampa, V3, I got a review copy of that, though unfortunately I haven't reviewed it yet because of some personal issues, mainly because I didn't watch the anime and probably need to do that first. But if I spoil that game's ending a week before, because I had access to that game, the blacklisting would be, I can't even describe it. So don't do it. NDAs, review embargoes, follow them to the T. Misconceptions and general advice, where we get audience interaction. So, first off, anyone here have a misconception or question about reviewing? Like, what do you think reviewers do? Anyone want to raise their hand and ask? Alright. Well, one of the ones I commonly see is that people get paid to review games higher or lower. This is not true at all. No companies really care if you give the game a high or low score as long as the reviews went respectfully. Some indies might, especially if they're like the kind from steamed out one-man teams that are like, oh, you gave my game a low score, crud, that means no one's gonna see it. If you're honest and you aren't being rude, like filling the review with insults, then you'll be fine. It's feedback in the end. It's like my stories. People gave me constructive criticism. I didn't like it, but it helped me. Another misconception is that only fans of a game should review the game. You'd be surprised how many people buy a game as a newcomer to a genre or series. The new Mystery Dungeon came out a while ago, and I see a lot of people get mad at IGN and people for saying, hey, this guy's never played a Mystery Dungeon game and he hates it. Why don't you have an expert who loves the games play it? That creates things people call bias. And in the end, bias isn't good for review really anything. Like, it's nice if a fan gives you an in-depth explanation on if a remake is good, better than the original, but on the other hand, a newcomer that tells you if the remake hooks them in, that's also good. Another snooze before the time needs to be reset. And most importantly, don't take too much at once. This is for any job. I learned this the hard way. This is my review queue for Switch games. There's about 15 of them in the queue at the time I'm making this panel. The reason is because in 2018, a lot of games came on the Switch, because the Switch is big. Everyone wants a Switch, and everyone makes games for the Switch. And the situation is even more apparent because you don't get people that review games for sometimes because everyone else is reviewing something else. So I still reach out to companies, I review and play stuff, and I get reviews done in a timely manner. But then I've had moments where because I get like 5 games thrown at me in a week because it's a busy week, I have no time to review them all. And back then, I redeemed all my codes when I got them. I didn't say no because I didn't know how to do that. Now I say no to a lot of people who send me stuff because I just can't do it. I have to be picky with what I choose to review because I gotta do my old stuff first. Or I gotta do games that are longer. Like right here you see, let's see. Trying to look for a game that is fitting. I think it's on the next panel. Okay. The Calgula Effect, Overdose. That's an RPG NIS America released last spring. It's a game I still need to review. I'm almost done with what I need to, but I got other RPGs that week. And so I had to focus on those. So I pushed it back and back and back, and I need to get to it. So yeah, I stopped taking RPGs to review because I have to play through several other games first, because reviewing ARPGs, not fun, especially when you have to do them in like 2 weeks to get the best visibility and stuff. That's not good. And last but not least, have fun with it all. I wouldn't really be who I was today if, as a reviewer, I didn't really do what I wanted to do. Like, I reached out to companies because I thought their games looked fun, or I wanted to hear their stories. I interviewed some people who made games and wrote up interviews on my website because I was interested in their lives. I was interested in what made them make games. And I'm really happy I got to know lots of great indie people, lots of great people who made games. I not only just from review codes, but talking to them, they're people. I've met a lot of great people and a lot of great companies, and I hope to keep doing that. I haven't been able to connect with all of them. My site needs to grow a lot, but I follow the review guidelines. I help people, and to think at the beginning of last decade, I was just some dumb guy who made Looney Tunes fan fictions. Now I review video games that are pretty good, and I just get to do them early, and I get to help out people and the ones who make the games. They get feedback, and in the end, it makes the world go round. So that worked out good. I did almost 30 minutes. Is that right?
Yeah, 3.5
So
left.
Q&A time. Anyone want a question about anything? What did you think of the panel? Any advice? Anyone want to ask a question? Going once? Going twice? Seriously, I mean, answer a stupid question about my crossover. Going 3 times, and that will do it. I'd like to give special thanks to my family and stuff. Some YouTube friends who are on Twitter that gave me advice throughout the whole week I was preparing this panel. And the audience for showing up. It was small, but I really am happy because I now have a panel, experience my belt, and I hope you consider checking out my website because I do have a business card that links to my review website. I have several. If you want to read my reviews or contact me, you can come up and get cards. And that will do it. And not much else here, and even if I only expected 10 people got this, I'm happy that you all came. So, final call for questions? Anyone? And that's a wrap.
The red button.
Hit the red button.